Welcome to the Glenn Beck program. Tonight, the truth about social justice and distorting its meaning. No. We're going to correct its meaning tonight. If you have a pencil and paper, get it out, because you're going to need to write stuff down tonight. You're going to learn stuff that you probably have never even really noticed, and then you're going to start noticing all kinds of stuff. You have a priest, a pastor, a bishop, a rabbi. You get them on the phone and tell them right now. Turn on the Glenn Beck program. Progressives knew about 1915. They knew that they couldn't get their agenda through because of three things. People knew the Constitution. Americans talked about it in 1915. People loved the founders. We knew who they really were. And the third one, people went to church. They had to put a poison into our church. Well, they've done it. I expose it tonight. And I give you the cure as well. Come on, let's go. We have a studio audience tonight. Hello. You're not going to say hello back? This is like an AA meeting. Hello, Glenn. Hello, America. If I would have told you 5 years ago that the United States government would bypass the Congress and then go right through the EPA for climate change and have the EPA declare that every time you exhale, you poison the earth. If I would have told you that 5 years ago, you would have said, not in America. If I would have added this, that the government is going to merge with churches under the Democrats, you would have said I was stark raving insane. But that's what's happening. And that is exactly why I told you this just a couple of months ago. Do you remember when I got into heat for this?
I beg you, look for the words social justice or economic justice on your church website. If you find it, run as fast as you can. Social justice and economic justice, they are code words.
Okay. Oh, my goodness. Like this, suddenly I went from a religious zealot to a godless atheist animal with that paragraph. That's it. I was a heretic and a heathen and a hater. All of a sudden, I had all these Christians coming out of the woodwork to boycott my show. Wow, it was weird. It was really weird. And I knew it wasn't about me. No. This is about you. The reason I warned you about this is because they are injecting social justice poison into our churches. And it is this is the last dying breath of our churches if we don't snap out of it. To provide cover for the social justice movement, Time asked this. Where is it? Why does Glenn Beck hate Jesus? Okay, it's because he never wore socks. The Huffington Post wrote, Glenn Beck to Jesus, drop dead. Really? That's what I was saying? Really? Then, of course, there was the Marxist Reverend Jim Wallace urging Christians to turn off Glenn Beck. It was really weird. You know, not this one, because this is the President Obama's advisor on spiritual and political matters. On spiritual and political matters. In fact, his blog is God's Politics. Wow. Well, it seemed odd why such a huge, vicious campaign came out so fast. I mean, they did, within days, they were organizing all across the country against me, trying to separate me from people of faith. Now I can tell you why. Because we were right yet again. Your church is being attacked through a faith-based initiative headed up by Barack Obama's administration. It was quite an amazing smear campaign from the same people that continually accuse me of smearing them when I use their own words against them. We're going to show you their own words again in just a minute, but I want you to keep in mind, they can't have the truth being pointed out to you, the American people. They can't have anyone tell you that your church is possibly being used by progressives and this government to help bring about the fundamental transformation of America. It is happening. Do you remember when George Bush had his faith-based initiative? Okay. The press went crazy. They were hysterical over his attempt to force Christianity down the throats of innocent, unsuspecting, secular Americans. They're going to make us say Jesus just to get a plate of food. Do you remember that? They screamed unconstitutional and separation of church and state and every other ignorant, numbskull drivel that could spill out of their faces. At his very first press conference after taking office, the lovely, talented Helen Thomas asked thank God we keep things on tape, asked this of President Bush.
Why do you refuse to respect the wall between the church and state? And you know that the mixing of religion and government for centuries has led to slaughter. I mean, the very fact that our country has stood in good stead by having this separation. Why do you break it down?
Led to slaughter. I hope Arianna Huffington hasn't heard that, because she'll immediately say that she's dangerous for using that term. How many times have you heard them say that question to the president now? How times have changed, huh? Bush's opponent in 2004, John Kerry. Here he is this last week on Cap and Trade.
I think this could pass. And the reason it can pass is that we have the broadest base of support. As I said, we have faith-based community support for this bill.
They've got the churches on board. Since when does John Kerry get excited over churches getting involved in politics? Well, now I suppose that President Obama is using the faith-based office to promote the gospel of Gaia on the United States. And there's nary a raised numbskull voice, nowhere to, shh, listen, nothing. Obama's Advisory Council on Faith-Based and Neighborhood Partnerships. Ooh, we could get the progressive churches and Acorn all together in one fell swoop, wouldn't that be? They recently issued its report of recommendations. The Obama administration is about to take faith-based initiatives to a whole new level. The President's Council envisions the government and religion partnering to push the good news of global warming, climate change, and other green issues. Oh, friends, it's the religion of environmental and social justice. Isn't that great? I'm excited. The council hopes the new EPA Faith Office will also help churches and other nonprofits improve access to financing. Wow, that's good. So we can get the government to merge with churches, they can teach environmental justice and global warming, and then the government will help churches get loans to build green buildings. Even, quoting, establishing a revolving loan program or working with utility companies to help finance greening building projects. Whoa. All you have to do is just join with the government, and all that money can be yours. The Crime Inc. elements in this administration are now merging with the EPA and churches to make it easier for churches to get loans to green up and push green initiatives on their parishioners. Now, let's just see if I have this right. On one hand, we have people on the left screaming about the separation of church and state, screaming about getting God in God we trust off the money. If you decide you're going to speak out about politics, you could lose your 501c3 status. You're not going to be a tax exempt anymore. No, we got that. And we have, I would just like you to help with our little green agenda, and why then maybe we could help build you a brand new chapel. Wow, that's kind of them. The administration's emphasis on faith goes beyond cap and trade. Nancy Pelosi is now asking churches to help her pass immigration reform. Watch.
On the subject of immigration, because I think the church is going to have to play a very major role in how people are treated. The cardinals, the archbishops, the bishops that come to me and say, we want you to pass immigration reform, and I said, but I want you to speak about it from the pulpit. I want you to instruct your, whatever the communication is, the people some who are opposing abortion reform are sitting in those pews, and you have to tell them that this is a manifestation of our living the Gospels.
Isn't this great? It's almost like we have King George back. He can tell us exactly what the gospel says. Oh, I'm so excited. I won't have to worry about even going to church anymore because our churches will be dead. We have a studio audience tonight. Hello. Founders, we knew who they really were. And the third one, people went to church. They had to put a poison into our church. Well, they've done it. I expose it tonight. And I give you the cure as well. Come on, let's go. The Glenn Beck program. Progressives knew about 1915. They knew that they couldn't get their agenda through because of three things. People knew the Constitution. Americans talked about it in 1915. People loved the... Welcome to the Glenn Beck program. Tonight, the truth about social justice and distorting its meaning. No. We're going to correct its meaning tonight. If you have a pencil and paper, get it out because you're going to need to write stuff down tonight. You're going to learn stuff that you probably have never even really noticed, and then you're going to start noticing all kinds of stuff. You have a priest, a pastor, a bishop, a rabbi. You get them on the phone and tell them right now. Turn on